process of actually formulating your stump speech is the beginning of you being the best candidate ever. First thing you want to do is, once you've actually got your speech written, is you actually want to practice it in front of a mirror. Practicing in front of a mirror will give you an opportunity to look at yourself and see how you appear, what about your nonverbals. It lets you practice your tone and the look on your face. You want to make sure that you're able to keep yourself measured and balanced when you're giving your speech, and to keep an eye on those nonverbals that sometimes can be difficult to watch. Next, you want to make sure that you give your stump speech in front of people so that they can give you a good review. Invite your friends over, make a night of it, have dinner, and let them see you give the speech so that you can get their feedback on how you do. When putting your stump speech together, you want to use the talking points that we discussed in the other video, which I'll link somewhere here, so that you can have a good idea as to what you're going to say. You then take these points, make sure that there's 3 key points as to what you're writing on, what your platform is. You want to expand upon your talking points based on how much time you have. You should have a stump speech ready to go for 1 minute, 3 minutes, and 5 minutes, and 10 minutes, and so on, depending on how much time you have to speak. Most of the time, you're only going to have about 3 minutes to talk at most in your average location, but when it's time to give a longer speech, you'll be able to do that by just expanding upon the points you've already put together. The 3 issues you use for the campaign in your stump speech should be the 3 things that matter a lot to you, or at least matter enough that you can give an emotional, direct appeal about these issues. You want to be able to speak with conviction, and you want people to know that these are issues you're serious about and matter to you. If you've already done your polling and your research before you give your first stump speech, you can use those issues. But if you don't have those already, using the things that you care about are going to be key in delivering a genuine, authoritative speech. You want to use the power of why you're running, what it means to you, what you believe in. These are things you want to include briefly in your stump speech. Don't read your resume. A lot of people seem to think that if they have a nice resume or graduated summa cum laude, that magically means people are going to vote for them or donate money to their campaign. And nothing is worse than a candidate running for office who wants to read off the resume. That's boring. It doesn't tell you why that you're running. It doesn't say what they're about. It's just... That's why we need people with energy. Why people who speak with conviction, with energy, are the ones who tend to win and get the most support. You want to use strong language with confidence. You want to be able to explain how you don't want the government taxing its citizens to death or turning a woman's womb into a chamber of death. This helps make it clear how you feel about the issues and puts the emotional charge in it that you need to garner support and show you're serious. When you speak, you want to be high energy. You want to make sure people can hear you. And if you can't project the energy like I'm projecting now, practice doing the best you can. Nothing worse than a boring candidate giving a speech. Remember Al Gore talking? Holy shit. When giving a speech, you have to identify a person, an idea, or an event that you're running for or against. You're running against your opponent, you're running against Democrats, taxing everybody to death. Being able to clearly identify an enemy shows what you're against, but it also shows what you're for. As conservatives, we're for individual liberty, and oftentimes our campaigns are based on people, ideas, groups, and events that have taken place that challenge our individual liberty and our individual freedoms. This is key to identify to make sure voters know where you stand on these important issues. Make sure when you're talking, you're using good nonverbals. When you're at a podium, you can put your hands on the podium, you can put your hand out, you can have your fists closed, depending on the situation. There's different things for different conversations, but you don't want to look mechanized. You don't want to look like a robot, and that's something that some of our candidates sometimes look like when their consultants over-rehearse them, which is why it's important to talk about issues of which you have some conviction, which you can put energy into, and when you can put that energy, everything else will flow naturally. Don't be afraid to move around the room. Oftentimes you're stuck in front of a crowd, you've got a few people there. If you're at a podium, that's a little bit different. But if there's no podium and you just have a microphone, don't be afraid to move across the stage. Don't be afraid to move among the crowd. The whole area is your playground. Their eyes are all on you, and that's going to be important when you're giving your stump speech. So be sure to tune in for more tips as you get ready for your campaign.